Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of She Sound Off podcast and YouTube channel. Of course, I am your host, Keita, and I got my sage going. I'm gonna burn my sage every time I record my episodes because, baby, let me tell you about that good energy. Anyway, you guys, welcome back. I'm really excited about this episode of She Sound Off because I kind of took a little hiatus for a minute from podcasting because there was some things going on in my life that I had to set straight. And so I have my focus on so many different things that I have to make sure that I stay on top of my prioritizing when it comes to all the different projects and all the different things that I have going on. I am getting it together. I am staying in fucking alignment always. You know, I always tell you guys alignment is everything, and make sure that you stay in alignment with yourself, with the things that's going around you, with spirit, with the people that surround you. You know, you want to make sure that all of those entities are on one accord at all times, or decision making can be very, very hard and also cause your situation to go left instead of right. So that's what the fuck alignment does for me. If you have any questions about alignment, feel free to send me a message. Let me know. I would love to talk about it, honey. I could talk about alignment all day. Okay. Anyway, so today I'm gonna make this short, sweet, and simple. I want to sound off to standing still. Standing still in moments of chaos, in moments of confusion, growth seasons, in moments of building, and in trying times. In all those different moments, I want to sound off to being still, right? Now, before I get into this sound off, I want to thank everybody for coming. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe. Okay? Don't leave me hanging. And if you are listening to my podcast, please go on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, y'all. Listen to, put a face to the name and watch some of my other episodes that is not actually on my podcast, my audio podcast streaming network. And if you are watching my YouTube for the first time, feel free to go on Apple Podcasts, Android Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public. All of those, my podcast is streaming on, and check your girl out back when I first started, okay? It's a whole different vibe, a whole different situation, but always the growth is real. So, I wanted to get into this topic because it's very familiar to me. Being still in a moment of chaos, in a moment of trying times, in moments of evolution, in moments of just those pivotal moments in your life. Being able to stand still. I know it all too well, like I said, because I have issues with this, and I struggle with this daily. I struggle with this every time it's time for me to be still. I don't know that it's to my benefit. Well, I know it's to my benefit, but I have a hard time accepting that. I am a very strong personality. I am an alpha female. My brain is always on go mode. And so when it's time for me to have those still moments, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I should be doing more. I feel like I'm letting time slip away from me. I feel like, that I'm going to miss out on something every time I have those be still moments. How many people can agree? How many people go through that same thing? Let me know, leave a comment. If you ever go through those moments of times where it's time for you to be still, you've done all you can do. You've planted all the seeds you can. You've put together every scenario, every situation. You've done your part, okay? But now it's time for you to have complete trust, and you're having a hard time accepting that because in your head, you're feeling like, well, I'm not moving forward if I'm not moving at all. That's how my brain works. My brain works like that. If I'm not moving forward, I'm not moving at all. And so what happens is when it's time for you to be still, you get overworked, overstressed, out of alignment. You're taken out of alignment. Your emotions are always up and down because no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, no matter what efforts that you put in, it's not ever work. It's not going to work, or it doesn't work for you because it's not that moment. Everything is in divine timing. And that's something that I had to learn. So that's what I wanted to get into today. There was a time in my life where it was very hard for me. It was hard for me. It was a moment where there was literally nothing I can do. I had just left a situation that I was in, and I was trying to, I was in the process of getting my power back. Y'all know that story. I talk about it all the time, and I'm going to always talk about it because it's my fucking story, you know? And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my growth. So I'm going to always talk about that. But it was a time where I was learning how to gain my power back. Had become financially independent at this moment. I'd moved. Me and my girls was in a safe environment now. We were safe, and you know, we were in a good place. We were in a good place from where we came from the situation that we came from, the traumatic experiences that we'd had. You know, we were in a really good place. But I kept feeling like that there was there's something more that's about to occur. I didn't know what that was. You know, I kept feeling like that Spirit kept telling me to sit still. You know, I had done all I can do. I had vented, cried, stressed. And then I did what I have never done before. I went straight to Spirit. I went straight to God. And I started putting all of my trust in that area alone. I mean, I was doing what I could physically, financially, and that's all I could do. And so at this time, I still had a lot of different projects going on, but I didn't have the strength in me to push them forward. I didn't have the strength in me to push them forward because I wasn't there. It wasn't time for me to do that. But in that moment, I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I felt like, you know, I'm going to lose my motivation if I don't push forward. If I don't go hard, I'm going to miss the mark or miss my moment, miss something important. I kept feeling like that. And it wasn't until I went deep into Spirit and Spirit told me it's time for you to be still. And I didn't quite understand it because I'm like, but if I sit still and not make any moves, if I do nothing, because I needed to be clear on what this be still meant. And it was literally like, you need to be still, do nothing. Nothing. Like, feed your kids, meditate, do nothing. And that one was a hard one. It was like a punch in my side because I never been the do nothing type. I never been the type of person that can sit around and wait on something to happen. And it kind of disturbed me because prayer without works don't work. Okay, I know that's probably not the saying, but that's how I'm gonna say it. Okay. Prayer without works is no works. You will get nowhere with that. And so in my head, that's what I thought that I was doing. But what I did not realize was I had already planted all the seeds. Throughout the time that I was going through that situation, up until that moment, I had already planted the seeds. I had already positioned myself for the next move. But just like when you grow a plant, you have to dig up the dirt. You have to plant the seed, cover the dirt back. You have to water that plant. It has to get plenty of sunshine and fresh air, and the soil need to till it or not till it. Listen, I'm not a planter at all, but the soil needs to be planted in good soil. I guess I'm trying to say it needs a good environment in order to grow. So, you know, as a planter, your job is to plant the seed. Now, naturally, it needs to take time and it needs to grow. And at that time, I didn't realize that that's what I had done. I didn't realize that I had already planted my seeds, you know, planted plenty of seeds to harvest. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, you know, all I could do is continue to stay in high vibration, continue to stay in alignment, continue to be positive, continue to be an ear for people who need to listen, because at this time I couldn't do anything for anybody. I couldn't be there. I always prided myself on being that friend that can be there financially for my friends when they needed me, in most cases. And I couldn't even do that. I had to literally sit back, and I had a hard time doing that. But I had to keep reminding myself, while in alignment, I had to keep reminding myself that you're not doing nothing. See, what I learned was doing nothing is the most that you can ever do, because it's the hardest thing that you can do. Unless you're a lazy ass motherfucker who don't really like doing nothing at all anyway. But I'm saying, for people who make moves, when it's that time to be still, that's the most important time for you. Because that's when it's time for you to have complete faith that everything that you've done, all the seeds that you planted, all the works that you put into place, it's time for you to see your work come to life and that harvest to bloom and grow. But what happens is we get mixed signals, within ourselves, because we're so stuck on thinking that we're the force of everything. Now, I'm not religious at all. I've said this over and over and over. I am not religious. I'm very spiritual. Okay. And I know that there are always higher forces at work. I'm not going to get into higher forces I say, y'all hear me say spirit, y'all hear me say God. That's the most I'm going to get into on my podcast, because there's more, there's way more. My ancestors, and so there's way more involved in it. But at the end of the day, whatever you believe in, that those forces are beyond you. And we get to this place where, when it's time for us to be still, we don't have faith, and we don't allow those forces to do their thing, right? And what we do is fuck it up. We fuck up our own path by doing that. You plant the seed and you wait for the harvest to grow. And so at this time, I learned how to be still. Hell no, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I mean, I didn't realize that I was evolving myself personally, because as I was being still, there was a couple things that was planned, that was at play. One of them was, I was growing spiritually and stronger mentally. I didn't even know that. Instead of packing on more things, being still allowed me to go deep within. And I was able to find a part of myself that I needed, that I didn't know existed, for this next chapter. Okay? That was one thing. The other thing that was happening was, like I said, everything that I had done before, all the people that I had helped, all the praying, all the meditating, all the phone calls, all the paperwork, all the money, everything that I had invested from the top to the bottom was at work, even when I wasn't at work. Those forces and those things were at work for me. So I had to realize that it's not my time to do anything. One thing that I did do, though, I made sure I meditated daily. I made sure I kept in close contact with the people who love me. I made sure I journaled a lot. Journaling was very, very, very important. And this is just one of my journals. Journaling was a really, really, really important factor of, that season in my life where I had to be still. I'm not sure everybody is not a journaler, but there are so many different things, so many different ways that you can do that. You can do a voice recording. Some people, non-writers, they don't like to write. Well, do you some video vlogs. Do some vlogs. Get your feelings out. Get your thoughts out. Get them out, because they hold no place inside of you. You know what I mean? They're not meant to stay inside. They're meant to release. And a lot of times we forget that, and we think that, holding your feelings inside and not even allowing them to breathe and giving them life is giving them life. And that's not a fact. So I did that. I journaled. I made sure I stayed one with the universe. I made sure I stayed grounded. I did a lot of things like saging and candle work, and just making sure that mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and inside, I was in a good place. I made sure that no matter what happened, I stayed vibrating higher. And also, the most important thing that I did at that time was I had complete trust. And whenever those negative thoughts would creep up into my head, because it sucks not knowing what's next. That sucks. especially when you're at a very trying time in life. It sucks not knowing what's next. And then what we tend to do is come up with all these things in our head on what might come next. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you are doing that, stop it. Okay? In this still moment, whenever you are faced with a thought or whatever it is, you have to direct that thought. You have to have control over your mind. You have to have dominion over your thoughts. Because if you allow it to, it will take you off track, completely to the left. So you have to try to make sure that you control your thoughts. Whenever there was a bad thought to come up in my head, I would counteract that thought because they're still valid. You thought of them for a reason, but you don't let that be the final thought in your head. You counteract that with what you want in life. That's called manifestation. We're all human. Our minds are, it's a very vast muscle. Y'all, you know this. You know how crazy our minds can be. Like, and we're only working with only half of it, probably not even a half, a third. So with that being said, when your mind is wandering, you have to counteract that with a positive thought and manifest what you want. That is the most critical part about manifestation, is counteracting the negative. Why? I've said this before. What you feel on the inside is what you manifest on the outside. So during this season where I needed to be still, while I was waiting on my harvest to grow, for me to see my works, when I couldn't be creative on the level that I like to be creative on, and these thoughts will creep into my head, I would stop them and I would say, no, this is what I want. Okay. I would have control over that by replacing it with the things that I want, replacing it with things that make me feel good, and replacing it with things that's positive, that vibrate me higher. So even if I wasn't able to see it at that time, I knew that I was manifesting greatness for myself, and it worked. So when it's time to be still, you have to follow that. After that still moment, I didn't realize that Spirit was giving me the strength to move. That was that be still moment. That be still moment was me having to get myself prepared to make the big move. And I was ready. When it was time, I was ready. I was ready. I wasn't tired. My brain wasn't crazy because, I had all these thoughts and things going on. I made sure when it was time for me to make that move, that in that still moment, I'd rested my mind. I'd rested my body. So important. It's so important that you understand being still it's not you not doing nothing. You're doing something. You're preparing yourself. You're getting ready for that next move in life. You're getting ready to manifest the things that you want. You're getting ready to manifest the people that you want in your circle, that you want around you. You're manifesting. That's what being quiet is. It's allowing your works to take place. But it won't work if you don't have faith. If you don't have faith in yourself, if you don't have faith in the things that you've done to prepare yourself, then it won't work, So I said this one is going to be short, sweet, and simple. Okay. You have to know the difference between fucking being lazy and being still. Now, this is the second part of it. The difference between being lazy and being still. Don't use being still as an excuse to be lazy. You'll know when it's time for you to be still. When you've done all you can do and you get that voice in your head to say, have a seat, that's when it's time to be still. Don't mistake it for being lazy when it's time for you, when you should be working, when you should be putting things in a place. You like, well, it's time for me to be still. No, it's not time for you to be still. It's time for you to get your ass out there and hustle, because that moment will come and these opportunities are going to start presenting themselves. And when opportunities start presenting themselves, it's okay. So I'll put it to you like this. It's like the end of a rope type of situation. When you've come to the end of a rope, there's no more rope for you to pull. Sit down for a moment. But if you pull a rope and halfway in between pull a rope, you like, you know what, I'm going to just be still. You're setting yourself up to fail. So don't use being still as an excuse to be lazy. Don't confuse being lazy with being still. But in the same breath, understand that being still is not being lazy. Okay? Know the difference. Know the difference. And when you get to that point where it's time for you to be still, don't be hard on yourself. That's another thing that I want to say, another point that I want to put out. Don't be hard on yourself. I am so guilty of this, so it'll make no sense. I am so guilty of this. I'd have a situation planned out for my benefit, and because I can't move around and maneuver and do the things that I want to do because this is my still moment, I'm hard on myself, you know. I think that I beat myself up saying that I should have did this, I should have did that, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. I did it just last week. So, peace be still to you, okay? And like I said, it's real tough, but it's the most that you can do. When you climbed up that mountain and you can't go any higher, it's time to be still. When you fought as much as you can, when you fought a situation tooth and nail, and you don't have any more fighting you, and you've done all that you can literally do, it's time to be still. And understand, being still means that all the hard work that you've put in is going to work now. Now they're going to start going to work, you know? So, that's the message I want to get out there. I hope that you guys were able to get something out of this message. I know I did. I woke up this morning, and as soon as I woke up and went into my meditation, Spirit told me, be still. So not only am I saying this to y'all, but I'm going through my be still moment right now as we speak. It's my be still moment. So that's it for this episode. You guys, listen, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If there's a topic or something that you want me to talk about, feel free to leave a comment on my YouTube channel as well as on my podcast network. Let me know if there's something, that you guys want to hear me talk about. I'd love to hear it. Okay? All right. Until next time, remember, self-preservation is the first law of nature. You have to love you before you can love anybody else, no matter what. Okay? I love you guys. Until next time, peace out.